Hey, have you ever felt underappreciated in the maze of other highly talented executives? If you have, stay tuned. You'll discover one secret to become the standout in a crowd that is also in integrity with you. You don't want to miss this podcast. Hey everyone, and all you fabulous executive women out there, welcome to Thrive with Nancy. This podcast is dedicated to executive women who want more from their careers, yet not at the cost of twisting themselves into knots. I can't wait to share one approach successful women adopt. You won't want to miss it. We'll be digging into the topic of branding. If by any chance you're rolling your eyes skeptically, please don't tune out. Instinctively, I've known for years that branding is way more important for women executives than men. Why? The promotion lenses at most organizations seem more focused toward men than women. This unconscious bias is one of the elements holding the feminine leadership numbers at the top so askew. The concept for branding, when done right, has you being perceived as you intend and choose. That means you hold the reins of your career. It's an approachable, potent way of advocating for yourself. And I was grateful to see a recent study by the Institute for Public Relations that revealed 94% of surveyed women leader respondents said a personal brand is either very important or important to them. And 82% said women would be more successful leaders if they had a personal brand plan. Yet, with all of this evidence in favor of creating a brand, 75% didn't have one. Where do you fall? Have these statistics shaken up your mind or eliminated the doubts you may be having? How do you go about crafting a brand? Well, corporations use descriptive, shortcut, snappy copy as a way of distinguishing their products and services from the rest of the pack. And branding can do the same for you. It is meant to highlight what's important to you, where you deliver the greatest contribution, and what's your unique point of view. It represents your executive presence, social presence, untapped potential, reputation, future work, and all your hoped-for dreams. And it is so much more. Your brand spotlights your specialness and potential by embracing the totality of who you are today and tomorrow. All this is wrapped up in a big bow of the essential you, including your integrity, values, and calling. A window into creating your brand is self-awareness. It is at the heart of successful branding quests. Researcher Tasha Eurich found self-aware leaders are more confident and more creative. Nothing wrong with that, is there? And it gets even better. It turns out these self-aware leaders make sounder decisions, build stronger relationships, and communicate more effectively. Is it any wonder companies are searching for such centered senior leaders to hire or to promote? If I were to ask you if you believe you excel at self-awareness, and your answer is yes, you might want to recalibrate. Eurich found that only 10% to 15% of the people in her study were self-aware. And while women came out with a slightly higher self-awareness score, it isn't enough to hang the success of your career on or your future. To hammer home the criticality of this facet of branding, according to Korn Ferry International, top financial performing companies tend to have employees with higher levels of self-awareness than poorly performing companies. Could self-awareness be one of the aspects holding you back from generating a brand for yourself? It's clear humans aren't very good when it comes to the business of self-awareness. And in that same study, Eurich offers a hint to navigate this concern when she puts forward that cadres of truth tellers ups the self-awareness factor. She says feedback from one person is a perspective. Feedback from two people is a pattern. But feedback from 3 or more people is likely to be as close to a fact as you can get. And to magnify the multiplying dynamic, I say to receive feedback from peeps interested in you and committed to your future is critical. These are who you want to involve in designing your brand. Yes, it starts with you. You collect input from your trusted advisors, and then you test drive your brand to receive fine-tuning input from your supporters. If you haven't cultivated a community of truth tellers, it's time to do so. Is there still a smidgen of wondering about the big deal I'm making over branding yourself? I can understand. After all, you already have a successful career, yet you've never formally branded yourself. Take note of this. Whether you know it or not, you're generating a brand every day, and it may not encompass all of you. So why not intentionally fashion a brand for yourself? One that includes the entirety of you, not simply impressions. Think of it as a long-term investment in growing your career. I'm hoping you remember that in today's chaotic business environment, it's difficult to be visible in a pack of other go-getters so you can attain the recognition you absolutely deserve. Even the best bosses and management team find it difficult to keep track of all their employees, let alone connect each's hopes and dreams to work in that organization. It's up to you to weave it together, to have others following your lead. Okay, if branding is beginning to make sense to you, then hallelujah. And how do you set the whole thing in motion? First of all, your brand isn't a resume. Though down the road a bit, it may become a key distinguisher of your resume. Clarity begins with deep down honesty. Ask questions. Become an explorer looking for gold nuggets of your sweet spots. It's based upon truth, not a blown-up ego. Identify your strengths, unique attributes, the added value you bring to every work circumstance, and all your acquired expertise and abilities. This candid exploration is imperative because if you start speaking a brand where your actions do not confirm it, you're worse off than when you started. Do you hear that? Be diligent and spend time on this aspect of your brand journey. Successful brands are built on your strengths, so identify them and figure them out is all part and parcel of the process. Did you know that when you work in your areas of strengths, you accelerate your performance? It turns out that according to Gallup, you are 6 times more likely to be engaged in your work and you become 7.8% more productive. And your passions are equally important component to consider. Some of my clients at first find it difficult to uncover this area. They're not used to looking for it and they're used to thinking of strengths. And honestly, many find that they may be good at something, but they don't enjoy the process or the work of it. No, pay attention to the activities where you feel as though 20 minutes have passed, and yet, when you look at the clock, 3 hours have passed. Remember, the work you do that you would do for free, that's what you're looking to find in your bag of tricks. Not that we're going to tell your company this, but you need to find what stimulates you where you'd be doing these areas for free because those are your areas of passion. Never leave your passions out of your branding or you're going to have a very dull career indeed. One caveat. No one ever works 100% in their areas of passion and strengths. If they did, there would be no growth or freshness in a career. Trying on something that you didn't like in the beginning only to discover a passion for it is what your expedition is all about. As you leap into this experiment of self, you will discover something magical occurring. Your career will gather momentum as you gain confidence, all leading to a more satisfying and fulfilling career. Once you've identified the full breadth of you, surround yourself with your ideas. Try taping all these research notes on your bathroom mirror. Let the information seep deep into your being, either to resonate as truth or as a new expression of identity growth you might want to take on. Don't throw away the unexpected insights of others. We all know that often our friends and others who have our best interest at heart see us better than we see ourselves. Try these ideas on for size, all of them. Toss away the ideas that don't work for you because that's not who you want to be or that doesn't connect with your passions. Then practice being your brand in your work activities, with your friends, and with all of your peers around you. Are you comfortable? Is it in integrity with who you are? Testing yourself is how you build an influential brand from the inside out. Are you wondering if all this effort is worthwhile? Well, let me tell you a secret. Catalyst, a leading nonprofit research organization for women, found there is one particular skill that makes a difference to a career. It is making their achievements known to their supervisor. Women, and obviously this works for men too, who employ that strategy advanced further, were more satisfied with their careers, and had greater compensation growth. You heard it. That's not bad for understanding who you are and speaking up. You'll never hear me saying branding is easy. It isn't. It requires attention and persistence, and it is so worth the effort. Many of my clients have seen leaps in visibility and recognition after they launch their brands. The IT executive whose giftedness and talents was lost in the crowd of male executives while vying for senior level positions. Sharon discovered one of her strengths is building bridges between silos in the midst of change initiatives. She started delicately water dropping this descriptor into her dialogue. Sharon knew her brand was a success when her boss called her the company's bridge builder. This asset had her moving up in the industry to a stellar position. Or another client who was one of the best manufacturing processors at her company. Kelly identified her passion was strategic thinking, not system processing, as she'd perceived and believed for years. It transformed her interchange with her boss, how she related to her position, and ultimately led to Kelly having a much more satisfying and heightened career trajectory than she ever imagined for herself. Or the client who ended up completely changing her profession on the pathway of uncovering who she was and who she wanted to be. Rosemary went from an accounting executive to manager of the sales team, winning awards in less than a year. Rosemary's career still hasn't slowed down, and she's happier than she ever was in the accounting department. These are just 3 of the stories where when women clarify through branding who they are to themselves and others in the organization, great things happen. What is possible for you? Done right, branding becomes so deeply embedded in you that it naturally emerges in meetings, elements of your resume, as you chat with leaders in your organization, working with your subordinates, and so much more. And you bring your branding to your online presence. For most in today's marketplace, social media, whether LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or whatever is your game, is a powerful vehicle that impacts how others appreciate you, both professionally and personally. Check how you're showing up. Are you anemic or bold? Are you comfortable with what you're seeing and how you're coming off online? Is it in sync with the brand you've discovered for yourself? Or are you going to need to make some tweaks as you move forward in your online presence? One of the great aspects of a dynamic brand, when done right, is it opens doors that work for you even when you're not present. Your brand actually acts as your personal public relations consultant, and branding for an executive woman is undeniably crucial. Tom Peters, the great business guru, has 2 quotes on branding that I want to share. The first, come hell or high water, from the beginning of your career, you need to think about your areas of distinction. That's the element of branding we've been discussing. And the second, it's this simple. You are a brand. You are in charge of your brand. There is no single path to success, and there is no one right way to create a brand called you. Accept this. Start today or else. Yes, like everything good in your life, branding yourself takes time and attention and commitment. But that's what successful women desire, and that's what they take on. It may be a little tougher road to come up with your brand, but honestly, it's going to create a way broader pathway for you in the future. My purpose is to facilitate for women the ability to find her fulfilling, satisfying, standing in business wherever you choose to be ideas. And it's a great place. Did you find value in this one? If you did, I'd appreciate it if you'd pass this podcast on to your friends and peers and anyone you believe would benefit. Do you want assistance in navigating this new landscape? You know, this landscape of achieving all you see and hope is possible for you? I'd be delighted for you to check out the Your Strategic Edge coaching program. And don't forget to check out all the extras that are included when you receive and sign up for this package. Together, we'll explore opportunities to bring your possibilities into being for you. Check out www.thrivewithnancy.com/executive/. I would be absolutely delighted to support you. Remember, no one ever makes it to the top or even arrives at their next destination alone. I'd love to be there partnering with you. I'm thrilled you've listened to the Thrive with Nancy podcast. My intention is to offer quick tips designed for you to apply right away, ones that will boost your career immediately. I bet you're already considering ways to implement these new ideas. Perfect. Now, if you do me a favor, pass the podcast link on to those who will benefit, your friends and coworkers. Thanks so much.